Fans of Star Wars have been saying this for some time now, that there's been too much content too quickly, and now we're seeing cast members or former cast members of Star Wars actually coming out and basically confirming what we've all been saying for a while now. So Liam Neeson thinks Disney is diluting Star Wars with all the spin-offs. Don't expect the Qui-Gon Jinn spinoff. And yeah, he was in one of the spinoffs, Obi-Wan, and he said he just liked to do a little scene like that with Ewan McGregor and things. But I mean, just kind of like an old time sake. But for the most part, he does agree that there's basically been too much content too quickly, and it does dilute the whole Star Wars brand when they're just doing something like that, which makes perfect sense considering there's a principle in pretty basic economics called the scarcity principle. And I'm not going to sum it up. I'll just read it straight from here. So consumers place a higher value on goods that are scarce than on goods that are abundant. Psychologists note that when a good or service is perceived to be scarce, people want it more. So yeah, I mean, that's just a basic rundown of it or whatever. And the thing is, this isn't something that's completely unknown too. We actually had just as recent as July, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, basically making the same claim. Disney CEO Bob Iger says the company is scaling back production of Marvel and Star Wars project. The company's decision to scale back comes after underwhelming box office returns from seemingly bankable movie project or Marvel projects. But again, like he's talking about Star Wars as well, because yeah, they haven't really done any Star Wars movies since what is it? Solo, was that the last one that they did, and that didn't do well, and that came after The Rise of Skywalker, which was underwhelming it did pretty well, but I mean, it was underwhelming considering what they were expecting, because every mainline Star Wars movie since The Force Awakens, it had diminishing returns, and you would think it would be going up, and it was going down, and then as capped off with Solo losing money. And then ever since then, we've seen all their Disney Plus shows that are Star Wars related. I mean, there was some varying success, but for the most part, they're not doing too great. I mean, like their more successful show, like The Mandalorian, obviously had diminishing returns from the first season to the third season. And we even not only saw that when viewership's declining, but also just lower audience scores as well. But like I said, this was from back in July, and that's not something that's new either. Look at this article from September 2019. Disney's Star Wars output has been too much, too fast, admits CEO Bob Iger. So why was he doing this, saying this back in 2019, 4 years ago, and then he's saying the exact same thing now? What have you been doing this whole time that you can't make any changes? I mean, you're the CEO of the company, and people are going to point out like, well, no, he left CEO in 2020 or whatever, and then came back in 22. It's like, yes, I know he was not the official CEO then, but I mean, if you actually look at the inner workings of Disney, he was the CEO. He was literally within the same office and doing the exact same stuff. The only difference is Bob Chapek was the one taking all the fall for everything Bob Iger was actually doing with the company. But yeah, Bob Iger was the one calling the shots still, and anyone who thinks otherwise doesn't know what was actually going on with the company. So he could have made these changes, and he could have scaled back production, but he didn't. And we've also seen other outlets say the same thing over the years. This is from 21. So 2 years ago, too much Star Wars, Lucasfilm mindful of Disney Plus oversaturation. So this isn't a new thing that Liam Neeson is basically reiterating with this and agreeing with the fans and everyone else who's basically has two eyes and ears and can actually pay attention. There's something wrong with the fact that they're just putting out so much content so fast. If you actually look at the whole slate of content that they've had out, now granted, all of these aren't necessarily ones that are in production now or never even got in production. Some of them got canceled, but look at all the stuff that they just announced, and these were just the shows. Right now, there was, I think, around a dozen or so properties that they have produced since Disney bought Lucasfilm from George Lucas back in 2012. And that's including like shows, movies, and I'm not even talking about added seasons like extra seasons onto Clone Wars or anything like that. In the whole 35 years prior to that, when George Lucas owned Lucasfilm, there was 10 projects that he actually produced. I'm talking movies and TV shows, 11 if you count the holiday special, and that's it. So 11 properties that George Lucas produced in 35 years versus, I don't know, like around double that and around a third of the time that Disney has produced, or at least announced. And that's another issue right there. It violates the whole scarcity principle just for the fact that, like, yeah, they're going to announce stuff and then not follow through with it. And a lot of this is, if I'm going to defend Disney somewhat on this, it's just the simple fact that they kind of have to announce stuff because they have to appease stockholders. But that also goes against the scarcity principle, because if you're constantly announcing new stuff, and they're way far out there. You want to give updates. If you can't give an update on it, you would rather announce something new as opposed to give an update by saying we don't have any updates to give on a project that we previously announced. So you do announce a project, you say you're going to do something new and try to drum up some publicity that way. And if you never follow through with it, okay, fine, you never follow through with it. Things happen. Everyone understands that. But for a momentarily, it tries to give your company a little bit of a boost. And that's what they're doing. Right now, though, this is the latest news I have been able to find on the Disney Star Wars thing. Because like I said, with the last one, things are announced, canceled, whatever. So it's constantly changing. So we don't know what's actually going to be made. But in addition to the ones that have already been made, like all the TV shows and movies, these are what they have on the docket right now. So Skeleton Crew Season 1, The Acolyte, Andor Season 2, and then a few untitled movies, and that's about it. So that's still scaling back from what we're seeing with this, but it's still quite a bit of content right there. I mean, I think the best solution they can do is literally just try to not announce everything until they have something kind of up and running. Maybe that might not be good for the share prices or whatever, but I think you can actually maneuver it in a way or kind of stagger in a manner that would actually work out for the company, in that they don't have to constantly have, it's like they constantly have something coming out, but at the same time it's being trickled out, as opposed to saying we're going to do all this and then kind of trickle it out, because it also makes it look bad when you're trying to announce something and you have to keep canceling stuff in the meantime. But that's what I think, at least with the whole Star Wars thing. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.